Here's a little something we left on the cutting room floor for the 2022 ACE Awards. Bert Kreischer.
And she goes, hey, whatever you do, don't bring up Star Wars. And I went, we're having dinner with Mark tonight. Like, it's going to be hard. Like, it's like a big deal with him. She goes, I know, I haven't seen it, though.
Oh, my God.
I said, you haven't seen fucking Star Wars?
Any Star Wars?
She goes, no, I haven't seen it. It just wasn't big in Eastern Europe. And I was like, are you fucking sure? And she goes, I don't know the fucking movie, so don't bring it up. I said, all right. So we sit down, Mark sits down, we have our first drink. I said, Mark, Eva's a huge fan of Star Wars. And you see her eyes go big, like, oh. And Mark goes, oh, really? What did you like? What did you like about Star Wars? And she goes, I don't know. You know, typical good guy versus bad guy storyline always gets me. And I go, who's your favorite character, Eva? And she goes, Chewbacca. I said, can you do an impression of Chewbacca? And she goes, oh, of course. Hello, I am Chewbacca. It's good to meet you.
Stick with us. This December, the 2023 ACE Awards. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
All right. Well, Max Zapata's back in studio to do his trending topics. I wanted to finish one quick thought because I got sidelined for a second by the mooch. I was talking about the DMV, and I should say sidetracked instead of sidelined, but I was talking about the DMV, and I was talking about floss on the freeway signs and stuff. But what I wanted to finish was my thought about basic etiquette when you get into a fender bender. Because I was walking down PCH 2 days ago, Pacific Coast Highway, and in the left lane, it's 2 lanes this way and 2 lanes that way, in the left lane heading toward Los Angeles, I heard a slight sound, just like a little blink and crunch and something, and I looked, and there was a big Ford F-250 crew cab stopped, and a little miniature little Hyundai something that had just tapped it, just bumped it, and because the truck bumper was a foot higher than all the damage was on the Hyundai. The truck was fine, but the dude, who was a big dude, who was probably 50, who got out of the truck, first move, pull over. You're standing in the middle of PCH, and people get killed all the time. Got out of the car. It was barely a tap. Got out of the car, started. Now, cars are piling up in the left lane, and now people are like swerving because there's no they're moving at 50 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden there's a stack up, and they're trying to cut into the next lane and not get caught up in the stack up. And he's out there, but the one I like is he gets out of the car, he walks around, is like poor, I don't know, Filipino woman sitting there with their daughter in the little car.
I really hate this guy.
He gets out of the car, comes around, and he does the hands out, what's going on thing. And it's like, you don't have context for what is going on? PCH is a long highway. There's lots of traffic on it, and people tap each other all the time. What do you mean, what's going on? Like his hands go sailing out. What is the meaning of this? Yeah. Like somebody flung open his shower curtain and was wearing a clown outfit or something. Like, what is going on? So he's like, what's going on? She's like, he's looking at the bumper. There's no damage. There's nothing. He's like shaking his head. Like at some point, the emergency blinkers go on. Now everything's piling down PCH, and he's going to move. Could we just have a little thing, which is A, pull the fuck over, and B, you're not allowed to get out of your car and like menace the other person. You're not allowed to get out of your car and go, what is the meaning of this?
Yeah.
You are not rammed in your driveway. You're on a very crowded stretch of highway. This happens all the time. I don't know why there's no context in it for you. I get what you're doing. You're being overly dramatic about it, but just fucking signal, pull the fuck over, would you?
Completely agree. This is insanely frustrating, especially here. I wonder if maybe we ticket these people, like when the cops go, like that.
Yes,
if there was
a woman last New Year's Eve was killed standing in the freeway.
I know people who've been killed in the freeway by the center divider. Like you just don't get out of your car.
Don't get out of your fucking car. You know the very first rule of drive club, a race club. The very first rule in racing, whether you do the vintage style that I do or the occasional professional Trans Am race or whatever it is, don't get out of your car. Do never get out of your car. You will get killed.
Yeah.
You can never get out of your car. I don't care if your car is facing the wrong way on the fucking straightaway and people are passing you at 200 miles an hour. You will never be allowed to race again if you start crawling out of your car, because that's where you get killed. Pull the fucking car. The guy's driving a pickup truck, like a long bed pickup truck. I'm standing 50 feet away and looking. There's no visible damage done to his car. Just fucking pull it over.
Well, a lot of it too. I mean,
I would have been happy if this guy got run over. But go ahead.
I do have a theory, and it kind of goes to you talking about the victimhood with the mooch. There is like I've been rear-ended, and I've actually rear-ended other people too, and like I've been in fender benders, and the person acting like the big victim there, you want to get that on the table already. You want to get that on the record, because once the insurance companies get involved, once everyone gets involved, you want to make sure that you were on record doing that before you go and take pictures and videos of everything that's going on. It's all part of it. It's all right. You have to act a certain way, and it sucks.
But could we at least send the message to not get the fuck out of your car and back the traffic up all the way down PCH and kill yourself? Could we just put that up there? We'll give a break to slowing for the cone zone. We'll put my floss message up there, and then we'll go to if it steers, it clears. All right. Yeah. Sorry.
Speaking of floss, if I could do yourself a favor, those little floss sticks, just keep them in your car.
That's right.
On the drive, just have them ready, and then when you see it on the sign, on the electronic freeway sign, you can do it immediately while driving. Because those electronic freeway signs right now they function to me as just holiday reminders. Because I just see, don't drink and drive. My first thought is, what holiday is it today? Because it was New Year's. All right, you want to do some trending topics?
No one would want your job. Like Savannah, he screams and makes you have to jump to search the internet and make him right. Max Savannah, his real name's like Savannah.
All right. You mentioned the game last night. I do want to get into that because that was the biggest thing that happened last night in the news and in media. We'll wait for. I kind of want to wait for Sal though too, because I want to hear his thoughts. So we'll get into it last. But during the game, I did see reports because I was glued to my TV. It was an incredible broadcast. But then I got an alert on my phone that Ken Block died.
Yeah, Hoonigan.
Yeah,
good dude.
He's been on this show. He's been on CarCast. You did Goodwood. He was at Goodwood when we were out there. We ran into him all the time when we went to car events, and you tweeted he was one of one, and I think that's the best way to describe him.
Yeah, there were no other Ken Blocks.
Yeah,
you don't want tragedy to befall anybody, but the safety who collapse, there's a bunch of other safeties in the league. There are other people that do what they do. Again, you don't wish it upon anyone, but Ken was a one-of-one kind of dude. I know there are other rally guys and other drift guys and stuff like that, but he started that whole movement. His videos are insane. What he did with those cars is insane, and he was one of one.
Yeah, so I encourage anybody to just go and watch any of the Gymkhana videos to see what we're talking about, because you don't even have to be a car guy or car person to really enjoy what he's doing. They're incredible feats, and he closes off like San Francisco, or just goes to really great locations and just gets. Just does these insane stunts, really brought rally racing up to the forefront. So he died in a snowmobile accident in Utah.
I presume he died going for it,
I do too. There are no details as of recording this of exactly what happened, but if you hear Ken Block in a snowmobile accident, that's kind of what you think.
Yeah, he was a guy who liked speed, liked excitement. And when I don't think you could put a guy like that on a snowmobile without him wanting to kind of wring it out, you know? And that's what happens on occasion when when you go for it, like when you're just that, my dad's never been on a snowmobile, but he's alive, but he never had the experience that Ken's had in his life. You know what I mean? And it also, what ends up happening to all the guys who do all the crazy shit is they always die in some fashion that is not related to the thing we think would kill them, because it is this sort of, people don't really think about it. So they go like, I would be so scared to get in that dragster, to get in that 1,000 horsepower Mustang he has and drift it through Tokyo or something. But the reality is that thing has a cage and fire suppression system. You're helmeted and suited up. There's a net in the window. Like, it's got a lot of safety in that car. And like, if I got into like one of those Trans Am cars I get into, you're probably safer doing that than on PCH in your Miata. Like, there's a cage. You're in a cage. I mean, now the snowmobile is basically to the snow what the quad runner is to the desert. There is some sort of illusion of, I don't need to wear a helmet. You know what I mean? Like, I got this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you don't. The quads and the three wheelers and the four wheelers and the snowmobiles, those are the things that will fuck you up the most. Not the race car.
Yeah, I mean, you get thrown off of them. The torque on those things alone, like those ATVs, they're heavy too. So you get whipped
land
around
on you,
things.
and Ken was a good dude. I got to know him a little bit, and I just assume he went out like he came in, like just going for it.
Yeah, I assume the same, and just renowned. I mean, the whole community loved him, and it still continues to love him. So the statement that his team put out, it's with the deepest regrets that we confirm that Ken Block passed away in a snowmobile accident today. He was a visionary, a pioneer, and an icon, and most importantly, a father and husband. He will be incredibly missed, and we agree.
And he was a businessman too, founder of DC Shoes and all the Hoonigan merch and everything. Like, he was a real.
Yeah,
this is a real dude.
So we're gonna play his interviews on Classics this weekend because he's had multiple appearances on these shows. So he'll be missed. Now, speaking of snowmobile accidents and snow equipment, there was also a really big snow injury, and that's Jeremy Renner.
Yeah,
I don't know how much you know about this, but he has a place in Nevada, and he was using a snowplow to clear some driveways.
So he was in Tahoe, right?
Yeah. Well, it was reported Nevada residents, but yeah, Tahoe area, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And he was he's moving snow from his driveway because his family members were there for the holidays and they wanted to leave, so he's clearing the driveway. And then a neighbor also needed some help, so he goes to his neighbor's house to clear his driveway, and that's where the accident happened. So
no good deed goes unpunished.
First off, imagine Jeremy Renner just in a snowplow coming up and like, hey, I just finished my driveway. Can I get yours too?
Yeah,
it's all right. Exactly. Such a good deed.
But his neighbor turned out to be a doctor, or another neighbor turned out to be a doctor, and may have saved his life with a tourniquet, right?
Yeah. So TMZ reported that the plowing machine accidentally ran over one of Jeremy's legs. So before paramedics arrived, a neighbor who's a doctor put a tourniquet on the leg as he was losing a lot of blood.
Oh, losing a lot of blood in snow is quite dramatic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It pops more, just the color too. But the cold, it's really scary what happened. And so the official statement that his rep put out to CNN was, quote, blunt chest trauma, which is interesting. So there's more than just the leg, and then orthopedic injuries. So it's a lot more vague than what TMZ reported, which may be kind of like when we go to Monterey and they cover up the car. They don't really want exactly what happened out there to kind of ensure what happens in the future.
When there's a car crash?
A car crash, excuse me, yeah. So like when there's a
race car.
Yeah, when a race, like a really valuable race car crashes, everybody kind of goes over and covers it up, and no pictures, and this never happened.
They always cover it up. Yeah, the plow I heard on TMZ may have been an older model and not had the safety, whatever, of not being able to fire it up and run you over, essentially. But again, like Ken Block, 1 minute you're vacationing, having a great time, whatever, and the next minute you're under a ski mobile or snowplow.
It's crazy. Nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe.
Yeah.
I was funny because I went to Tahoe and I took the kids and I took their friends and they drove there. It took like 7.5 hours to drive there over the break. And I was intent on snowboarding. I said, "Oh, I can handle this."
You have great balance. That's already been put out there. We know you ride a unicycle.
I'll tell you my problem is like Sonny's like, have you ever been skiing before? So I always have to preface this. It confuses people. Like I go, I went skiing when I was 16, and then they go, Sonny will go, your dad took you skiing? I go, no, I went with Jeff Buck's family. Like I knew families that had money and they would go to Tahoe or they would go skiing or they would go water skiing or they would do it. And I would tag along with them. Water skiing, Jeff Buck. Snow skiing, Jeff Buck. Dirt bike riding, Chris Bohm. Like I had all the different activities that a 16-year-old would want to do. I just, of course, would never do it with my family because they'd have to rent something or buy a ski lift ticket pass, or there'd be some money or some effort or some calories burnt. So it was no fly zone.
So if you do something cool, we should automatically assume it wasn't with your parents.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So that's
yeah. If you would consider watching people rot on a sofa cool, then I would be covered. But if it was an activity that sounded cool and it was before the age of 30, it would not be with my family.
Okay.
After the age of 30, I would just pay for it myself. But I went snow skiing for the first time, 16 years of age. And I don't even remember where we went, but I got on those skis. I'd never skied before. Within like 20 minutes, I was fucking going for it down that hill. Like I was in a crouch going 60 miles an hour, just going to town. I didn't have any skill. I was just like, I got great balance. I'm strong as shit. I'm athletic and I love speed.
Yeah. All French fry, no pizza.
That's right. And so I went for it. And I was busting moguls and shushing, and I was like a bird taking a flight. Like this is the easiest thing in the world for me, until I collided with somebody at a high speed as I was going for my sort of bonsai run down the mountain. Another guy was kind of traversing it, and we just pow hard. I was okay because I was 16, played football, pretty indestructible. The guy hit was okay too, but when we were attempting to untangle ourselves, he took his leg and sort of kicked it over. We were balled up kind of mess, and the back of his ski, the butt of his ski just bonked me right in the bridge of the nose. I still have a scar that sometimes you can see and sometimes you can't on my eyebrow. I didn't get slashed. I got busted up. Like I got popped with this blunt force thing, and it just broke this thing wide open, and the blood just started pouring down my face because your face bleeds a ton. And this was right in the bridge of the nose, right with the eyebrow, into the eyebrow. And it just started pouring down. And I remember trying to make my way down the mountain to the medical center, but sort of looking at all the blood on the and as I was passing people, they were like going, "Oh my God!" Because it was like a cage fighter got a big cut on his forehead, and it was just pouring down I didn't have a bandana, I couldn't wipe it down. I just took my sunglasses off moments earlier because I got covered with snow, and then pow, right in the bridge. And then I went to the medical center, and they put a butterfly bandage on it, and then I should have gotten stitches or had some sort of cosmetic whatever, because it was this noticeable scar that used to turn red if I got like angry or warm or something. But that's the only time I went.
You had a mood scar.
But I kicked ass.
Yeah.
I had a mood scar. And then so when I was talking to Sonny, he's like, "You're going to snowboard?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going snowboard." And he's like, "You're going to take lessons?" I'm like, "No, I don't need lessons." And he's like, "Really?" And I'm like,
this.
"Yeah, I was going 80 miles an hour in a fucking in my skis."
Yeah.
You know, it was scant 42 years ago. You know, like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
That one time before I got bonked in the face. You know, but I was like, "Fuck no, I don't need lessons. I'm going to snowboard." Next thing you know, we're on a lift and you're trying to get your foot stuck in, and he's like, you get off the lift on one leg and then you push yourself.
Yeah.
The lift. So I'm nervous about getting off the lift. The lift stops 1 foot short of the get off line. You know, they'll stop the lift every once in a while if there's a whatever. It's not 1 foot short. 1 foot short. So we're just sitting there the whole time. And I have no idea when we're starting, but when we start, I have 0.3 seconds to get off of this fucking thing. And Sonny's like, "Where's your other foot? It's supposed to be one foot's in the board and the other foot's you push with the other." And I'm just sitting there going, I wanted just one smooth move where that thing just dumped me. Stopped one motherfucking foot, one foot before the line. And we just sat there. And of course, there's two other guys on the lift who know what they're doing. And then there's me and Sonny, and we're sitting there for what feels like forever. And and then all of a sudden, like it goes. And Sonny's like, "Here we go." We both get off. He grabs onto my arm. We both eat shit. We're just on the iciest, hardest part of the
that
thing.
part's really hard.
Boom. Ass fucking to the ground. Me and Sonny, pile of people. We go to the bench, get the other foot clicked in. I get going, I immediately fall down.
Yeah.
I can't control myself at all. I can't get up at this point. Now I've gone about 20 feet down the hill. I cannot get up. Sonny's like doing it, kick it under you and go for it. Now, what I didn't know is I should have flipped over and got up knee first instead of ass first, which I saw someone do an hour later. But while I was down, literally, at some point, I just said, "Sonny, live your life. You know what? Prosper. Like, go, be free." I set him free. I was like, how long can he stand there watching this old man trying to get on to a snowboard? And at some point I just went, "Go have fun." And he just said, "Are you sure?" Because he's nice. And I said, "Yeah, go ahead." And he just took off. And I found myself just like, God damn it. And everyone was like passing by and everything. And at some point, some sweet, like 22-year-old dude, like named Morgan or something, just kind of came by and he just went, "You need help?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." He'd been watching me trying to get up for half an hour, and he put his hand and he like propped this. He was on his snowboard and he like pulled me up, and I said, "Thank you. That's very decent of you." And he took off, and then I fell over again. Yeah. And then that was it. I had to like unbuckle myself, and I went back up to the top where the bench was. And I was sitting there, and I was like, the lodge is 2 miles down the hill, and I can't make it further than 8 feet at a time without dumping over and falling down. And I clearly don't know how to get up at this point because I didn't know the turn it over to your knee side versus your ass side. And I just sat there for a long time, and I said, humiliated, obviously,
course, yeah.
deeply humiliated. Now seeing all the 7-year-old chicks hop on their board and just take off, zip on by. At some point, I got my board off. I'm trying to look like I know what I'm doing, board off, checking the shackles on it, you know what I mean, like some mechanical issue. And I walk over to the chairlift operator who just saw me eat shit 20 minutes ago. I don't know if he was watching me not be able to get up or whatever. And I just went, "Can I hop a ride down on this thing?" And he's like, he goes, "We really don't do that." And I go, "Oh, okay. All right." And he goes, "We having a mechanical issue?" And I'm like, no, not really. And he's like, "Oh, so what's going on?" And I'm like, my hip feels a little stiff. So, I was just looking to catch a ride back. And he's like, "Well, I can call medical and they can drag you down on that gurney, on that,
that's pretty fun.
That tray." And I'm like, I don't want. I'm perfectly fine. I'm embarrassed as shit.
I'm embarrassed. You should have broke your own leg right there.
I don't want a guy pulling up some buff dude with the tourniquet with the sled behind that. Everyone's gonna watch me lay down and it's gonna give me a blanket or something and strap me. Like I'm perfectly fine. So I'm like, oh no. And he's like, all right, well, you're not having mechanical issues, but your hip hurts too much to ride down. Let me get the medical guy. And I'm like, I'll walk it off. And tried to go down another 10 feet, fell over again. And I was like, I got to walk down this fucking mountain. I walked down that motherfucking mountain. I walked 2 miles in powder down that fucking mountain. Embarrassing, humiliating, humiliating. Yeah.
Look, I don't blame you. Like I can't snowboard either. I skateboarded my whole life. I was just like you.
Oh,
I thought, I can skate parks. I was pretty good at it. I can get on a snowboard and ride down a little hill, and I couldn't because it's the back side of it of the snowboard. It's like putting shopping cart wheels on all sides. And it's like everything could turn.
Couldn't do a thing. But the hardest part about it was while 2,000 people just swooshed past me, I had to walk down the fucking hill and pretend like something was wrong with the snowboard the whole time because everyone was just going past me, looking at me, and I had to like every 10 feet had to fuck around with the binding or something on it because it was so fucking humiliating. It was insane.
I know. You should have just cracked that snowboard over your leg and just walked it down 2 pieces, like
or just broke my leg into two.
That. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's all right. Listen, I got a fucking good workout in.
Yeah, Sonny pretended not to know you the rest of the weekend, right?
He took off on a snowboard, had a good time.
He can ride.
Yeah.
Are you regular stance or goofy?
First things first. This is a problem. This is a problem, which is like when I used to teach boxing, I'd say like to some chick, I'm like, let's get you in a stance, and I'd go, what's your strong hand? She'd go, I don't know. And I go, oh boy, we're fucked. Like, this is going to take a long time. But I put my left foot forward.
That's regular stance.
But I'm left-handed. But I would kick a ball with my right foot, and I would have a right-handed football stance. So I'm kind of all over the road.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. What else?
All right. Well, I'm so sorry. Well, speaking of Tahoe, though, you did post a good picture of you at the in the snow. You look good, man.
The snow,
shirt off, pants off.
The snow was piled up high outside of the living room of the house we're renting, and I went and sat in it, but I laid in it. Each morning, I got up and just buried myself in this powder that built up like 3 foot high on the deck, and I just laid down in it, and I would time it for 5 minutes. So it was basically 5 minutes of lay in a bunch of powder that had built up on the porch. It was about 2 feet, 3 feet high. It was enough to lay in it, and I'd have to pick a new spot the next day because it wasn't powdery where I laid the day before. But yeah, my back was beat damn red. I took my feet and I like buried them in snow. I took my hands and buried them in snow, and I just laid in this snow.
Yeah,
like Jeremy Renner.
That looks worse than the cold plunge.
No, the cold
maybe
the cold plunge is really insidious. For some reason, this wasn't quite as bad. Oh, it was pretty bad.
Yeah,
5 minutes was pretty bad.
Why are you wearing trunks though, man? So uptight, dude.
Kids were running around. I didn't want to give them a free show. You know?
Yeah. Oh. All right. Let's go to another story. What'd you do for New Year's?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I did. I'm at the point where I don't need to do anything for New Year's. We got back. I went to Garrigus' house and had like the greatest moment ever, which is sitting with Garrigus and Dr. Drew drinking Don Julio at Garrigus' Christmas party. And I'm like, where are you going, Mark? What are you up to? And it's like, I'm going to New York on Tuesday or something. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I look at Drew. What are you doing? He goes, well, we were going to go to New York tomorrow, actually. And then Garrigus goes, why don't you guys just come with me in the big-ass private jet? We'll just go there and we'll hang out for a few days. And I was like, okay. So got all our kicks in New York.
I'm so jealous.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was so awesome on that plane.
I know Ben over here, he was a victim of that whole Southwest debacle, so he's probably hurting pretty hard here, and that you just got to jump on a private plane in New York.
Oh, my God. Landed at Teterboro, I think it's called, and got into the city in half an hour, just drove to Van Nuys, walked right on, drank Don Julio with the Garrigus on the plane the whole time. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, there's so now when you do New Year's Eve and you watch TV, there are 3 big broadcasts that go on. You have the Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve, which Ryan Seacrest now hosts. You have the CNN with Don Lemon and Anderson Cooper and Eddie Cohen, and then you have which is new Miley Cyrus's show, which she's been doing for a couple years now. So I was flipping through all of them. I was with some friends. We were flipping through all of them, watching all. So my thoughts on all of those were, first off, the Miley Cyrus one was really good. A lot of the acts and the celebrities, it was just us in the room going, who is that? Because they're just too young, right? We've now surpassed who is cool and notable, and it's sad that all these TikTok stars and everybody are featured, but. Dolly Parton was the co-host, so there was that added element of classic and timelessness with the Dolly Parton.
My New Year's Eve thing is now with birthdays. It's like, who cares?
You don't care?
Well, look, I don't know what we're celebrating. The calendar moves. It's one more day.
Yeah.
Everyone has a birthday. Every year begets the year after it. I mean, look, I don't want to be grinchy here, but I'm over the novelty. I'd rather just go out and drink with friends on any given Saturday and not have to deal with the pomp and circumstance. Cousin Sal is here, by the way. I'm being told. So do we have an owl?
Max